Welcome back to the most professional StarCraft 2 with our first finalist, the most Terran player out there. In the red, it's Micro Jackson, ByuN. And in a rare cross-continental showdown, he's up against arguably the best Protoss player in the world, the mysterious MaxPax. A best-of-5 Protoss versus Terran Grand Finals to determine who will be the champion of the WardiTV Summer Showdown. Several $1,000s in prizes, and while I'll admit it isn't my favorite season, it's in my top 4. So if you see one of your top 4 seasons represented on the screen one way or another, it'd be awesome if you could start things off by smashing that like button. And maybe even subscribing. And Jimmy, what are we... I know it's shameless. 1,390 likes on this video, on this cast. I'll cast another one. And I'll probably do it anyways. I don't know what else I would do with my life. But thank you for watching. Hopefully you've had a good day so far. And hopefully it's about to get just a little bit better. Cyclones are back as ByuN starts things off strong. The reactored Cyclone, a Twilight Council wall from MaxPax in order to wall off the Reaper. Not that it's going to be much of a surprise, but just limiting the options. I don't think the Reaper can do the little bounce over the side. But blink and you'll miss it. It'll be the story of the day. So stay tuned and tune in. No, that didn't make any sense. You got the gist of it, though. But double Cyclone on the way out, looking for the Adept and anything else that might be out there. 2 Cyclones are too much for anything but Blink Stalkers to handle. Technically, you could chase them down, but it certainly isn't worth it, especially with the risk of a with the risk of the Reaper coming in and help you out as well. Just staying on the high ground. MaxPax staying back. He had the Adept Shade timed out perfectly to scout the Cyclones popping out. It is a very thin timing to figure out what's coming out of that reactor without also losing your Adept. But no one walks that line better than MaxPax, I say, right as he walks up into Cyclones. But body blocking and actually succeeding. And now the Adept's into the natural. Well, he's gonna kill 1 SCV, which is better than dying to the Cyclones. Not much better, but better. Not an ideal start. Probably not expecting the Cyclones to just be hanging out right there, but a bit of a mistake out of MaxPax, an arguable one, as it's almost impossible to know. But now ByuN just kind of turtling up, preparing for the Blink Stalkers. As MaxPax is the most successful Blink Stalker player out there. Hero has that kind of drunken brawler style, where you can sometimes show up in crazy parts of your base that you'd never even expected because it's such a ridiculous risk. Whereas MaxPax just slices away parts of your army, parts of your infrastructure, and parts of your soul. Sometimes all at once. Those Blink Stalkers just smoothly ship blinking back. And now there's multiple tanks, multiple Cyclones, but there's a whole lot of main base to work with. And that Warp Prism spots what he's going for. He's actually just going to hit the stims here and get him blinking back with the Prism. Decides he's not going to go for it. One more volley, and it's going to... It doesn't cost him a single Stalker yet. About as good as it's going to get. Unfortunately, you can't... What? That's a wall? Stop right there, criminal scum. Then again, I think all Reapers are criminals already. Isn't that the lore or something like that? In my mind, all Terrans are criminals. I'm just saying. Okay. So I'm 1/3 Terran. My Dark Shrine is on DT. Not really rush, but follow-up to the Blink Stalkers. A rare choice because it's so easily countered by a Raven. I wonder if this is prompted. Right now, ByuN does not even have a starport. He can't have a Raven. I know, that was pretty profound as well, but the DTs could be a game-winning move in a way that really they aren't anywhere but the ladder. God, DTs are such a risky play. I love the choice in game number 1 to go for the Dark Templar. A Shrine to Dark is always a good choice for anyone facing against ByuN. As no one has had more run-ins with him, but the Tacta boys are on the way. A single DT is warped in. He's just going to start slicing, eviscerating these Marines, saying, "Scan me now." And now there's a clock on this push because he'll keep warping in DTs on cooldown. Is there even an engineering bait? There is. The pylon's going to be targeted, depowering the robo, but there's a DT in the main as well. 9 SCVs dead. And ByuN, yes, he may get through. Shield battery overcharge. An immortal in the back. The shield battery itself goes down. Charge is about to complete, but ByuN's economy is gone. MaxPax has lost 21 probes, though. Another DT is going to be warped in, though. ByuN undercut in game 1. MaxPax with a solid victory. He chooses the Dark Templar, and ByuN calls his bluff. Unfortunately, it wasn't one. And MaxPax nabs away a relatively quick win to kick things off. Wow, I can't believe DT's just kind of worked. It's been a while since it wasn't just I walked in with DTs, hit 1 SCV, and he tapped out of the game. But the timing was impeccable. MaxPax gambled just a bit, and it pays off. And now, what I love about that is, when you do that in game 1, now that's in the back of your head. Most Terran players, they get DT rushed in February, and in August, they're still mad about it. And here we are. So, for the rest of this series, and beyond, ByuN will have to respect, or at least keep that in the back of his mind, which severely limits... Okay, that's overselling it. That limits the sort of builds you can do without going all in. Like that last build, the no starport opener. No option for a Raven. And that's part of the reason why Terrans go for Ravens on a relatively regular basis. Is, one, to poke and prod and get some auto-turret done. But to knock out observers and occasionally DTs is also very helpful. I do note that MaxPax scouting very early with the probe. Probably a smart move, considering his opponent. Clem's metaphorical father is no stranger to early proxies or general shenanigans. And again, he's going for the 2-gas opener, which means plenty of options for tech. We've already seen the double clone into the siege tanks. Now, does MaxPax mix it up at all? That was so clean. Okay. That's, once again, overselling it. But a solid blink stalker pressure into DT defense. Even then, the army was so dangerous, he broke through into the natural. If there was any warning on the Dark Templar, MaxPax would be in a very tough spot, but here we are. Stargate is on the way. A bold move, Cotton. We'll see if it works out for him. Stargate, a relatively rare one because of things like Cyclones so comprehensively countering the Stargate itself. But, and 2 Reapers and a Hellion. Trying to chase down the Reapers, but the combo effort between them gonna be more than enough to shut down that first attempt. Unfortunate, but seeing the expansion timing, the 2 Reapers and the Hellion, obviously you'd love to keep the Adept alive, but that effectively accomplished its goal of figuring out what shenanigans ByuN is up to. So now Phoenix is on the way. An option to lift Cyclones and shut down Medevacs. Just have to be a little careful with them if any Cyclones are on the field, as they do get the bonus damage against it. Reaper comes in, jumps up. I don't think those Reapers will be getting away. I've been wrong before. Occasionally. Factory. Now, what does he go for? Is this for Cyclones? Is he gonna go full, like with a Biocurious build here? With the Cyclone Viking? Almost a TVT style of building mech units until, like, the 8-minute mark when you finally build extra barracks and go Marines? ByuN has gone for mech against Protoss, or at least Hell Clones, which more of a battle mech style against Protoss before. But I dare not dream. Nor Nightmare, who also didn't make it to the finals. I don't think Dream's played in a while. Right? So double clone, no additional production yet, but very likely to be adding on barracks 2 and 3, and there's the Raven, as well as interference matrix. So ByuN adjusting. Well, also knows he's up against the Stargate. It's very unlikely to be DTs afterwards, but the interference matrix is more for what MaxPax is doing right now, which is the Robo Bay and Immortal production. If you're able to scramble a couple of them, that's very well worth it. The Phoenixes, though, lifting up the SCVs and knocking them down. The Cyclone lock broken by a quick lift there. A single Immortal. He wants a third. The downside of this style is you really do need all that gas early on, which kind of prevents you from taking a third Nexus easily. You just don't have the resources because you're going all over the tech tree, sprouting out all forms of fancy Protoss units. It's an odd sentence. Well, Phoenixes come back in again, and now 7 Cyclones. At this point, ByuN, well, ByuN hasn't committed to any additional barracks, so it might as well be mech. The army is 7 Cyclones, 4 Marines, a Medevac, a Raven. I'm surprised there's not any SCVs coming along here. Interference Matrix is done for that Raven. He's got some Reapers mixed in. And here it is. ByuN is going mech. I dare not dream, but I don't need to anymore. I'm not hallucinating. This is reality. He's taking us to McDonald's. And 2 more factories on the way. MaxPax is going to see it. The Cyclones, though, knock out another reinforcing Phoenix. And the Cyclones, with the help of the Ravens as the crowbar of Terran, to scramble those Immortals. This is a very dangerous army to deal with. Here comes a Colossus, but scrambled both Immortals. Doesn't really care. The Colossus, kind of uniquely impotent against the Cyclones. But the Phoenix is trying to help out Cyclones. What an interesting fight. But the Immortals are unscrambled. The interference matrix runs out. And now the Phoenixes are chasing down. Remember, Cyclones are only the cost of Stalkers. It hasn't been that long since they got changed. So losing 4 or 5 of them is obviously not great, but not terrible either. As he knocks down several more units, and 3 clones at a time. We have Hurricane engines or servos or whatever it is. I forget what we're calling it now, but Cyclone Speed is on the way, allowing them to maneuver a lot more easily. No armories yet. Those weapon and armor upgrades are very helpful for the clones, but having enough clones to do anything is even more helpful. Oh, he just lifts them all up, but the SCVs are underneath, repairing in the sky, begging the question of why can't they attack there? But that's a question for another day and above your pay grade, Bob. I know. 2 SCVs down, not able to take out the Cyclones. Not that much energy on the Phoenixes. They really can't risk. If ByuN happens to make 2 or 3 Widow Mines, the Phoenixes could just get wiped out. Well, Templar Archives, 5 more gates, charge, +1. Upgrades are quite slow for MaxPax, who's been focusing entirely on his unit composition as well. Comes in again, finds an opportunity at the 3rd. I honestly have no idea how this goes. This is a very unique, finally deserving of the new build moniker that occasionally you'll see on the YouTubes, but well, at least an adjustment of it and an adaptation to the Phoenix style. Phoenix is in Cyclones driving away, or Cyclones and Vikings driving away. The Phoenixes. Force fields attempted. Will take out. He's only taken out 5 clones so far, but MaxPax, 70 probes. He's going up to 10 gateways. He's just going to overwhelm the field. Cyclones are quite weak against charge lots and Archons. Their real strength is against the more high-tech Protoss units, which kind of turns it around, because the Cyclone Archon style is much stronger against your more standard bioplay. But here we go. Siege tanks, Cyclones, and Vikings. Heavy on the Cyclones. There's still energy on the Raven. Maybe looking for an anti-armor missile. Obviously, interference matrix, very helpful as well. 2 more factories on the way, and double armory production. +1 mech weapons, and +1 mech armor, and a war prism. And why are these SCVs here? On a pilgrimage. unrelated. We'll go back to that. Blue Flame Hellions and Smart Servos. Transformers mode. Or Quick Transform. Smart Servos covers it, but the Charizard's trying to come in, but a bit of a blockade. And the siege tanks. The Zealots don't even get close, but another wave of Zealots warped in, and the rest of the army from MaxPax out on the map. The Cyclones coming back to defend. Doing pretty well, but this is a lot of army out of position. ByuN very aware of this, but still get some of those Cyclones caught, and the rest lifted up and knocked back down. MaxPax able to shave off more of the army, and he's kind of playing it like a Zerg against Terran here. He's expanded not only to a 4th, but a 5th Nexus. Double Robo Immortal production. He's got 10 gates. He only has gas geysers on his first 2 bases. Oh, he's got his 3rd as well. One of them. But Immortals, Archons, and Charizards. That classic CIA composition. Phoenix is still trying to shave out whatever SCVs they can. But it looks like ByuN will make it to 200 supply. So it's up to MaxPax to figure out how to deal with that without losing a critical mass of units before he can replace them. It's very likely MaxPax will take a difficult fight. A fight that he trades. And then will rely on his economy to rebuild so quickly that ByuN can't deal with it. Well, siege tanks slamming. Gonna go through the rocks. 10 gates now. Wouldn't be surprised to see even more. We haven't seen... Oh, he does have a Stargate, but no fleet beacon. Disruptor shot. Ooh, quadra kill. The Cyclone's a lot harder to micro away. They've got a pretty decently sized hitbox. Much like your mother. So, the Immortals and the Disruptors having a relatively easy time of shaving it off. But now, 10 siege tanks and just pummeling any units that get even remotely close to range. Stalkers are not... There's really not that much anti-air left over here. There's 1 Archon, 4 Phoenixes, and 2 Phoenixes and 4 Stalkers. So... Now... They're both maxed out. Neither player with a huge bank. There's the fleet beacon. These armies are so dangerous to each other. If ByuN is just unsieged, it's a disaster. Just absolute tragedy. But at the same time, MaxPax, there are many opportunities for him to get caught. Walking into siege tanks from the wrong angle. He spotted the fleet beacon on the way. The tanks are moving out. Alright, here we go. +2 mech weapons is about to complete. +2 on the ground is already done for MaxPax. Bit of an awkward angle. Disruptor shots around the corner. Get 1 tank. MaxPax caught between a rock and a hard place here. And the siege tanks taking full advantage. Alright, more tanks on the ramp. Anti-armor missile, Dorito dusting everything. Extra damage Charizards come in. Disruptors flung out. Immortal flank. And ByuN, oh my. The Immortals with their fancy new Dorito dust skin, but just pounding the point home. And the tanks are annihilated. And ByuN just taps it out right there. And we could be going home early. Metaphorically, of course. Well, MaxPax just smashes the army with the Immortal flank. Those tanks having to look 2 different directions is twice as many as they really want to be doing. It really looked like he had the army, but mech is so brittle. You come at it from the wrong angle, it just falls apart. I appreciate the attempt, but unfortunately MaxPax too smart to allow ByuN to pin him down. 2-0 for the Danish Protoss. ByuN just tapped out. I'm not rebuilding those tanks. It's not happening. Even though MaxPax, it's unlikely he was going to walk across and win right there, necessarily. It's 6-7 bases to what is probably going to be 3. I don't blame him for it. MaxPax off to a strong start. Couldn't ask for better. 2 decisive victories. And now, Probe, like, per unit, the most annoying unit in the game. Just the sheer cost to annoyance ratio, higher than pretty much anything else out there. The Reapers are probably pretty close in that ratio. Depends on how you value Vespene gas. I'd say like a 2.5 or 3 to 1. I've seen 2 to 1, but I think 2.5 is more accurate. Mostly just to be contrarian. But like and subscribe for more lukewarm takes. Probe. Off to the corner. He knows the Reaper timing. Reaper not even... Process does. Now, you don't usually build a pylon on the other side of the map. On your side, maybe it's for scouting, a spylon. But a proxy gate. Not quite the MaxPax build of old. But just a straight up proxy gate. So it's going to be 3 gate, just 3 gate. That's it. End of sentence. It's an old build, but it checks out. ByuN again leaning on the Cyclones. The Probe hides yet again. Looking for, or at least trying to dodge the Reaper. It will succeed, but is anybody back at home to deal with the Reaper? The Adept cancels the Shade. ByuN is still on 1 base. He's going to spot a 2nd gate, and there's nothing here. Okay. Oh, the Adept got caught as well. He's going to... There is no... He didn't see anything. And that's the point. All right, he saw no Twilight, no Stargate. That shenanigans are indeed afoot. And he's looking... He found it! He was scouring, suspecting a proxy, and he's correct. The Stalkers are... Oh, no. It's a disaster. And their grenade... this is over before it started. Another Adept is shading in, but it feels like he's just adding to the pile here. Well... grenade bounces the Adept. Another Stalker. And he gets a Cyclone. That's something. But this is a barely mitigated disaster for MaxPax. ByuN read this like a very short and full of pictures book. It was quite obvious that something was happening. I think ByuN, not sure if it was like a robo, maybe just a proxy Dark Shrine or something like that. But no, just gates. Oh, nobody puts Reaper in the corner. Well, metaphorically, literally, clearly capable of it. The Cyclones don't want to engage without the Marauders. ByuN has invested in Concussive Shell, though. So any Stalker that gets close will get one of their many legs broken and struggle to escape. Oh, no. And they're not getting any return damage. He's going to lose 2 Stalkers. MaxPax tried one of the oldest cheeses. The probes are pulled to absorb some of the shots. Blink is so far off. Loses the Adept. MaxPax still has a decent probe count. Let's back it home over here. ByuN's gonna have a 3rd. Oh, he didn't start a 3rd. Instead, just going for straight up bio. This is... The fact he's not dead is a testament to MaxPax's tenacity. He was able to take out several of the units when fighting it out in that, this is a technical term, a clusterfuck over at the third base, but with just blank stalkers and ByuN even scanned and spotted the Robo Bay. There's no hiding from that. So he knows the timing. 1 Colossus is not very intimidating. 2 starts to get there. But Stim will be completed. Medevacs are out the way. It's gonna have to be at least equal combination. MaxPax having the best blink micro of his life, and 2 ByuN getting a little bit greedy. He boosted the medevacs and then realized the observer was there. Scans, kills the observer, and we'll take a safer route out of the base. Fortunately for MaxPax, there's a stalker there. Well, unfortunately for that stalker. But... and now he's just stimming. Wait, where are you going? Wait, why is the SCV here? Where do these SCVs keep going, ByuN? And here's the rest of the army. I don't know if those were teched, but don't recall. Don't do it. Don't do it! He's just trying to buy time. And he's bought a lot of, you know, actually, he's leading him on quite a chase here. Unfortunately for MaxPax, he wasn't building his second Colossus for a bit during it, but he's built up, he has 2 Immortals. Incredibly important here. He manages to recall 2 Stalkers, which is 2 more than I expected to survive. MaxPax making all the plays he needs to give himself a chance here. But he's still going to need to do the hardest part, which is defending both the medevacs and the main army. The double drop comes in, absolutely nothing here to defend. Some of the army is left at the third. 5 probes dead, it could be worse. Down goes the sentry immediately. Immortal targeted. Roast some of the Marines, but the Marauders have absolutely no respect for MaxPax's personal space, nor Protoss in general. And they don't need respect when they have concussive shells. Immortals down. The second Colossus makes him think twice about it, so actually, ByuN not going to be able to end it here. Though, the third command center is about to complete. 5 wrecks, all done. Upgrades, non-existent for either side, nor in production. Now, it's such a focus on the unit composition. And so far, that's paid off, well, for both sides. He's getting an armory. ByuN, do you know you don't have 1-1? He might not like, it might be reflexive. I'm not even sure what the armory is, like. It's for Thor's. Okay, he's gonna go Thor. I don't think so. I think this is just his timing to get an armory when you go 1-1. Or at least have the upgrades. But he doesn't have those upgrades. I feel like I'm taking crazy pills over here. Neither does MaxPax. He lost his forge to the drop because it was in not an ideal location. Over near the natural. So we're just no upgrades. Some very strong units though. ByuN has the siege tank wall off that also captures the watchtower. +1 infantry weapons finally starts. With upgrades, MaxPax now getting his forge. Wow. What a tense game. Second engineering bay is on the way. I think with low upgrades, that gives MaxPax a better shot. His units are... usually the Terran ends up with some sort of upgrade advantage. Just by the nature of it. A little bit easier for Terran to get those upgrades while still spamming out units. A little bit less gas in general to build those Terran units. But here, MaxPax, charge lot counter. Still a few reinforcements in position. He's going to slurp them back up into the Prism. The Prism going to go into phase mode, and ByuN actually brings most of his army back to defend. A great timing to buy plenty of space here, and even kill half a dozen SCVs and counting. EMP. think he clipped his orbital. I'm not sure, though. But ByuN still with a 20 supply lead. +1 now closing in. MaxPax has started his. There are disruptors on the field. A dangerous option. Doesn't care what upgrades you have on either side. Double drop headed north. Or much more than double drop. Just like 30 supply units. It's going to try to divide and conquer. Though, this also carries its own risks. As if ByuN loses track of either side of this army, MaxPax could eat it one bite at a time. Metaphorically, of course, because Protoss do not have mouths. Much to their dismay. Not that they could voice it, because Protoss don't. Oh, no! And this is exactly what I meant. The drop to the north side. He loses 10, 15 supply for free, picks up the rest. But ByuN spreading himself a little bit thinly. How many Colossi? 3 Colossi, 4 Raptors. MaxPax has the tools. He's about to have +1 attack as well. That kind of an awkward mineral wall bottling through. But here comes the entire Bio army. EMPs, Vikings intercepting. MaxPax knows the danger as a Dane himself. Meanwhile, infantry armor 1 is done, but the disruptors slam right through it. A full broadside loaded up as MaxPax not willing to give up this tournament, not willing to give up the clean sweep, that is. Even in this game, which everything that could have gone wrong in the early game, for the most part, did. MaxPax drags it back, and he's actually ahead on the soup line. ByuN still has map control and a whole lot of momentum. He has better upgrades, and he has plenty of medevacs, so he's gonna drop the base. He loads up 5 medevacs and heads north yet again. Ship weapons level 1 is about to complete. A brave scouting zealot spots the army. There's about 50, 60 supply of Terran in each of these groups, and MaxPax, it's on him to divide his army perfectly, because if he undercommits or overcommits to either side, he will be losing at least a base, maybe the game. And now, oh, there goes the Nexus. Another scan. Back at home, a fusion core as ByuN heads towards tier 3 tech. Almost certainly for advanced ballistics, but one can dream. Disruptor shot actually follows through, clips some ghosts, another volley. Shaves off a couple. Keeps the Nexus intact. And 2 Colossi. The double-pronged defense. But the Bio army grinding through. The force fields trap in part of the army, but MaxPax loses a lot. ByuN already replacing with Marauders and Vikings. We've got +2 infantry weapons now completed. Things are getting harder for MaxPax. He hasn't been able to get any sort of counter damage. There's a whole bunch of command centers on the other side. 4 Vikings at a time on the way, +2 ship weapons, as well as advanced ballistics for the Liberator. No Liberators yet. If MaxPax's disruptor count gets towards the double digits, I think that's when we'll see him. Disruptors at 9 and Liberators in production. 9 Are you kidding me? Well, the danger balls. All we're missing are the DTs for the double Ds of destruction. But the charge lots from the north side. Disruptor shot thrown out. Another one, fade away. Army trying to keep this gold base intact. MaxPax doesn't have a lot of space to work with. He's backed up against his side of the map. And one misstep, he could easily lose 2 or 3 Colossi to those Vikings. An observer spots a drop of doom. And doomed indeed. Down goes one. He's forced to drop out most of the army. ByuN refuses to stop dropping. And right now, the supplies are still at full. We'll see who's dropped first. The Vikings knocked down another Colossus, as MaxPax has kind of given up on making the Colossi a while ago. He's down to 2. I don't think he's built another one since his initial wave of them. But the Disruptors... Oh no, the Disruptors! are caught out. The force fields are optimistic. A triple blast actually finds a connection. Covers for the rest, but here comes the Sky Terran. The Vikings overhead. The Liberators. A Venn diagram of freedom will lock down this base. Disruptor shot, but the Protoss army from the north. The Colossi as well. The Vikings were slightly out of position, and that allows the Charizards to swing in and cover. The Disruptors go down, though. ByuN loses a lot of his army, but I gotta reiterate, he hasn't lost any of his economy. He hasn't lost any of his production. MaxPax is still going, but he's down to 59 probes, and it's not getting any easier to deal with these Liberators. Disruptor! Couldn't see it, but definitely heard it. Kills a ghost or two. MaxPax needs to go now. It's not going to get any better. There's more and more Liberators. Equipping Zealots, Marines, and Marauders alike. Blink Stalkers underneath, getting shaved away by the Liberators. But he's able to take most of them out. ByuN's building half a dozen at a time, though. And the Vikings continue to take down the Colossi. ByuN's production is be unstoppable at this point. Archon's on the way. But 6 Liberators on the field. Advanced Ballistics is complete. +2 ship weapons, which allows him to two-shot those Stalkers. Another Disruptor shot, but he's working around the corner. He's using the Watchtower to make it that much harder to deal with the Liberators. Who needs siege tanks when your siege tanks can fly? A Disruptor shot. MaxPax tried to keep himself in it, but ByuN, well, he hasn't been able to close it out, has maintained the momentum pretty much throughout the last 15 minutes, almost 15 minutes of the game. Liberation is at hand. MaxPax down to 55 probes. He simply doesn't have the economy to rebuild the level of units he needs to combat this army. He can't get to Tempest. He can't get to Void Rays. He doesn't have Storm. It's getting more and more desperate as ByuN is getting closer and closer to putting a point on the board. Leapfrogging the Liberators. 1 or 2 units getting equipped with each Disruptor, but the Liberators are covering the field. The Olympic Rings of Freedom. A Disruptor shot. Equips 1 or 2 Marines each time. That's not enough. The Nexus. The Liberators. The Vikings overhead. MaxPax bleeding out units. An attempt at a counter here. No repair yet. Building armor's about to complete. Trying to keep him busy. Disruptor shot. ByuN micros back. Planetary was taken out. But the army will get flanked and crushed. And ByuN's on the board. A hard-fought game. MaxPax made him work for it. I think possibly any other Protoss in the world would have been dead in that first set of medevac pressure. But MaxPax was able to split his army and control it well enough not to win, but to not lose for quite a while. And sometimes that's enough. Not this time. 2-1 MaxPax are going into Golden North. You know, for a moment, I thought he had turned it around. Those are my favorite games. Games that, even though I'm pretty sure I know who's winning, that there's doubt. All right, doubt is the most entertaining thing. Not doubt like when we sit on our base for 10 minutes and then come out, who's going to win? But instead, is he actually going to be able to close it out? Or will there be an underdog story? And that, I think, demonstrated better than this clumsy sentence could. What I mean by that. Reaper wall. ByuN. It appears we're back to full tech against Protoss. Going 1 rank 6 ban just opens up. The very simple version is Protoss are too good with blank stalkers. if you take any more time to get to a factory or even a starport, then you likely will maybe not die, but take terrible, terrible damage to the Blink Stalkers. And that leaves you in a very tough spot going forward. Second command center on the high ground. There's a reactor on the way, and it looks like cyclones yet again. Now, this doesn't mean full mech, just something to open up with. I think the mech build was more exclusively to deal with Stargate. Twilight's already on the way. Has ByuN spotted it? Yep. You got the Reaper up there. Only so many locations you can place buildings. How pylons work. Reaper being incredibly annoying. Oh, the probes eventually combine with the Adept. Where will he stop the clones? Just heading all the way across. A bit of a risky maneuver. If he gets caught, the Cyclones, they can beat 2 Adepts, they can beat 2 Stalkers, but 2 Adepts and a Stalker, well, that's not 2 Adepts and a Stalker, is it? Hello? Hello? Anyone? Not you! Probes? Anyone else? Getting him before the warp gate. He tries to... Oh, what a block! What a play! He blocks it in with the warp in, but that will allow him to kill one of the Cyclones. The next Cyclone's still a danger. A single lock-on could still be very, very deadly. Oh, no. Oh, no. Oh, no. Oh, no. And he locks onto the Stalker. He's just going to go for the probes here. They kill... Oh, my God. Huh. Well, that was... He got 6 probes, 2 Stalkers, and 2 Adepts for 2 Cyclones and a Reaper. And that all happened on MaxPax's side of the map. There's no quick counter coming across. There's... In fact, MaxPax doesn't even really have the ability to poke with the Blink Stalkers. Until you get 4 of them, it's a scouting expedition at best. So ByuN carves open plenty of space for himself with those rampaging Cyclones. Forge is on the way. Charge behind. MaxPax. Oh, wow. MaxPax quite scared of any potential counters. Medevacs. Maybe even just the and more Cyclones. He's going to get an observer in. Assuming ByuN doesn't actually kill it. And there's no DTs to turn this around this time. The Tacta boys are on the way. MaxPax sees this coming. That doesn't mean he can stop it. An Immortal in production. 4 gateways. The Blink Stalkers are desperate to slow this down. But they have to be very careful not to be slowed down in turn. Thankfully, no concussive shells on the Marauders. But the tanks are coming. MaxPax's building even more gateways now. He is really trying to buy as much time as possible. Charge is not done. Oh no, the Sentry gets re-shielded. Another force field, but it's a leaky one. And he has the siege tanks anyway. Immortal's done. Charge is on the way. There is another shield battery. He desperately needs it. The Nexus. Shields are failing. Charge. Closing in. The Nexus is taking so much damage. He pats it on the back with the shield battery. It's still getting out it, and the pylon is depowered. The charge lots. but he takes out the Nexus. He lost units. He lost the Nexus. ByuN capitalizing on this position quickly. The Blinkstalker's got nothing and less. And now a bunker siege begins. And I don't think it's gonna take too long before the game behind it ends. The Immortal's getting blasted. The bunker serving as a choke point, and MaxPax taps it out. ByuN ties things up and sends us to the decider. We're going to Game 5. A couple tough games for MaxPax. One, he tries to cheese, doesn't pan out. And another, that time ByuN had his number. The Cyclones, they just show up like they own the place, murder everyone, and refuse to elaborate further. That's so much damage. That's the difference between MaxPax keeping the Cyclones at home for a few seconds more with Adepts and, well, not. Game 5. ByuN in the top left, MaxPax in the bottom right. Red versus blue. Site Delta. I don't think you can be too upset. I mean, you can be upset if you're MaxPax, but those were two games back to back where he just got off on both the wrong feet. Or however many. Probe gets in. Gonna be annoying. Shift clicks it onto the SCV to make sure it maximizes its stalkerness, despite not being one. That way the probe will follow it around as it casually builds the barracks. Nexus on the way. And for the first time, ByuN opting for a 1-Rax expand. He's going to expand on the high ground. And it looks like he wants to shut down the probe scout. Will MaxPax get away? He was caught a little and just barely. Though he did not, he did see, technically he didn't scout enough of the base to see the gas. And the Marine might be a bit of a tell, but he didn't actually notice it was one gas. And he didn't see the command center. So MaxPax is missing some key information that is not going to threaten him immediately, not like reactored cyclones. But instead, if he's expecting something like reactored cyclones, he's might be a little behind economically, not realizing ByuN has already went for that extra command center. But it's going to be a Twilight. He canceled the Hellion. Now we'll build a Cyclone. We'll have a Cyclone, at least one, in every single game of this series. The Clone Wars will continue. The staple of Terran versus Protoss, it seems. Blank on the way. Adepts come up, take a look around, they saw the command center. But Cyclone pops out. Only one, which is a little suspicious in and of itself. He already saw the reactor didn't have a factory on it, so that's a tell. And ByuN gonna get to medevacs as quick as possible, because that's how ByuN do. Robotics facility halfway there. MaxPax playing quite safe. What is in the medevac? The Marines? He can run out the Cyclone. A Cloak Banshee is on the way. Does he close the door? Okay, just in time. The casual medevac drop headed towards the main. The Spylon, though, is not quite done. He's gonna get in. He sees the Cloak Banshee, MaxPax, but he doesn't see the Marines in his main, and he doesn't see why kids love the taste of Cinnamon Toast Crunch. But the Marines are the most problematic part of this certain stage. Will pull back. He saw the upgrading tech lab, which doesn't necessarily mean Cloak Banshee, but it increases the likelihood. It still could be a Raven with interference matrix, unless he actually sees the Banshee. It's not quite a tell. There's still, shield batteries in production. A shield battery pretty much invalidates a Banshee's efforts. Warp Prism heading out. More Stalkers warped in. Enough to be a real threat here. And with the Warp Prism, he has vision up to the high ground to work with. Banshee is sneaking around the bottom left corner, taking the scenic route all the way around the map. And here we go. It's gonna get weird. There's a siege tank. Don't know if MaxPax noticed it before he blunked into the main. Juggling his Stalkers out, he ends up losing a lot of them. 2 Stalkers dead. Another one incredibly badly bruised. Cloak Banshee gliding across the water. Actually leaves a trail there. And the Stalkers are waiting. But does he even have an observer, though? He does. He's just targeting the shield battery. Warp Prism is targeted. Cyclone pushed away. Still kiting. Oof. Cloak Banshee gets 2 kills, but ByuN on a move command. Loses a few more Marines. Ooh. What a tense game. And the Stalkers blank in. Kill 1 tank. Gonna get another. Loses 3 Stalkers, but for 2 tanks, well worth it. And now there's no more tanks to ward away the Blink Stalkers. This is a minor disaster. 3rd command center's on the way for ByuN. He's been doing a good job. In fact, MaxPax has less workers right now, but he has a 3rd Nexus, so should be remedying that soon. Stalker forced to blink back, but he's just fighting the bunker. ByuN not repairing. Stalker's dying to the Banshee. Meanwhile, Stalker's fighting against the Bio Army at the Natural. Not having a great time of it. Looks like he shut down the Banshees. Finally. And both of them take it out. Scan in the main knocks out the Observer. There's still the Prism to threaten. But MaxPax, he didn't get nearly as many kills as I think he hoped for. But he did kill 2 tanks. And knocked out the Banshees, which delays a follow-up and reduces the danger of it somewhat. Of course, once the triple threat, the stim, the combat shield, and the +1 infantry weapons alongside those medevacs are done, ByuN's gonna come trundling across the map with all his Marines, well, probably most of his Marines, and almost all his Marauders, depending on how threatened he is by the Warp Prism. With a vengeance here. Robo Bay on the way. Charge nearly complete. The medevac's out in front. There's enough Stalkers to snipe off a medevac, but not if the Marines and Marauders are underneath, at least not safely. Prism? Where is that Prism? Where is the Prism? Where did you go? Oh. To the Natural. Or beyond unlikely to expect it. In fact, the Marines and Marauders kind of getting caught off guard. Meanwhile, the Blink Stalkers. 2 SCVs dead, but a siege tank. Make sure they leave in a timely fashion. More Stalkers blunking away. It's the stims. 4 medevacs with this small army. More coming across. MaxPax building up. Colossi. How many does he? Is that his first one? Yes. A few charge lots warped into counter. Supplies dead even. MaxPax trying to skirmish with the army. Well, bringing in the charge lots. Guardian shield. +1 ground weapon's not quite done for MaxPax yet. I don't think he's going to have the luxury of using it. Shield battery overcharged to buy a few more seconds. 3 SCVs dead. Colossus on the field. Charge lots looking for a counter. Or maybe a flank. Charge lots. Oh, that was kind of a waste of them. Ends up losing like 8-10 charge lots for effectively nothing. Which is not a great trade. Pro tip. More investment tips if you like and subscribe. Infantry armor level 1 about to complete. MaxPax has moved on to +2 ground weapons for the Protoss. And 3 ghosts are out. As the supplies remain very similar. ByuN, 15 supply lead, but a single warp in turns that. And the Dark Shrine. MaxPax looking to bookend this series. At the very least, make a game of it. The Dark Shrine, not as a surprise game-winning choice, but something to continue to tax the APM of ByuN. Keep his attention busy anywhere but on the main fight, and increase the likelihood MaxPax is able to take a good one. Charge lots taken out. ByuN loses a bit of his bio. Colossi stepping up. The Blink Stalkers. A few Widow Mines out there as well. Dark Shrine halfway done. Oh, Widow Mines. He actually reacts to it on the field. Oh no. ByuN loads up 4 medevacs and heads for the main. He'll find the 4th base though on the as a bit of a hello? ByuN? He just goes straight for the main. What a crazy choice. There's not enough energy for a recall. This is actually going to work out. Oh my. The Colossi are coming in from an awkward angle. Takes out the shield battery. A whole bunch of probes are going to die here. And he depowers the +2 ground weapons. The charge lots are filing through. The Stalkers are having a real tough time getting through anything here. And the Bio Army, the Nexus. Oh no. And he spots the Dark Shrine. He's tearing him apart right now. 14 probes dead. Another drop at the 4th base. And the 3rd itself dodges away from a disruptor hit. MaxPax still has a lot of supply, but ByuN is all over the place. Those units need to go to rehab or back home. Badly bruised, hitting the stims, but the drops keep coming in. 23 probes are dead. And down goes 1 medevac, nothing inside. Cannons, nothing. Marauders just pounding through. ByuN doesn't even have 2-2 on the way. And right now, MaxPax's upgrades are delayed. Are there any DTs on the other side? No. He's repowering. At least he didn't lose the Forge, I guess, but the delay has been dramatic. And now ByuN has started his +2 weapons. He's landed his 4th base. He's killed 34 probes. MaxPax is down to 52 against 71 SCVs. But MaxPax still maintains a strong army supply. He's warping in 4 Dark Templar. We'll see if the Shrine to Dark is enough. I don't know if ByuN noticed it. He saw the Dark Shrine. I'm surprised he doesn't have turrets out in the middle of the field. In fact, ByuN is too. But the DT is sneaking into the main. 1 in the natural. The most important thing here is keeping ByuN busy, which severely increases the likelihood of the disruptor hits landing. SCV is dying. Disruptor does not find the mark. ByuN to the south and the north. But MaxPax, with armies that can compete on either side. A DT eviscerating just standing Terran units. Snipes knock out a DT in the main. 13 SCVs, though, is the final tally. The turret, gonna need a scan for that one. 4 medevacs loaded up. ByuN! I think the observer... Oh, no, no, no. It's a disaster! No! A titanic mistake! ByuN! His hubris, his greed, 40 supply taken out of the sky for nothing. He picks up, and this time he heads to the unit's lost tab. It's a disaster for ByuN. Every bit of advantage and map control he had is gone. He wants to win this fight, but there are disruptors, charge lots on either side. Disruptor shot finds a connection. EMPs are good, but there's not nearly enough Vikings to drive back the Colossi. And MaxPax is burning his way through, potentially reclaiming a victory. Oh, ByuN had so much momentum, but then he picked up, potentially for the last time. He's down 50 supply, backed up into his own main. There's no stopping the Colossi. The disruptors slam the point home, and MaxPax is your champion. 3-2. What a disaster. ByuN, his greatest strength, becomes his greatest weakness. He picked up one too many times, and MaxPax slaps him out of the sky and takes his prize money. Thank you to Wardy for always putting on such great tournaments all the time. My God, it's so impressive. Make sure to check him out. Jimmy, put it in the description. And if you got the means and motivation, be awesome to check out Patreon or YouTube membership. But I hear liking and subscribing is still free, at least for now. So thank you for watching. I hope I made your day just a little bit better. Congratulations to MaxPax, and I'll see you next time. Good luck. Have fun. Stay chill.